Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I certainly appreciate my good friend from the District of Columbia, Ms. Norton. We've worked together successfully on doing great things. And of course, my friend, Mr. Ezell, I do have concerns about giving additional civil penalty authorities to the FMCSA, an agency that has notoriously abused the regulatory authority that has been provided to date. Now, this legislation, I'm sure, is born out of an administrative law judge's ruling that the agency had seized authority not provided to it by Congress. And in response to this extra constitutional seizure of power, we are now poised to provide them with exactly what they wanted. Worse, we're allowing for the imposition of civil penalties based on only notice. So you get a notice that there's going to be a hearing, and that's all that's required. You don't have to show up or anything. The opportunity of a hearing and a determination by the secretary themselves without your ex parte. You're not there, and they just determine for you. I don't see that as just. I don't see that as due process, personally. Now, to be clear, freight fraud is a crime. What everyone's described here is absolutely a crime. But let's not do what's easy. Let's do what's right. It is a crime. There are real victims and real costs, and it should be treated as such. And criminal charges should be pursued as they can be currently through the Department of Justice. And if the Department of Justice doesn't see this as something worth their time, then that's an issue to be addressed and should be addressed. I'm concerned that convenience has led us into the trap of further bloating the administrative state and giving agencies the authority to be the judge, jury, and executioner, which is exactly what's going to happen here. And it's what has happened in the past. This summer, the Supreme Court made it clear that this type of extra constitutional civil penalty system does not pass constitutional muster in the SEC versus Jakarski. It would be prudent to follow their lead and not continue to create these type of systems contrary to our adversary judicial system. These are crimes, ladies and gentlemen, and they should be pursued criminally, because that's what they are. And if somebody is committing fraud, look, and I understand too, that a lot of this goes for the overseas criminal component, and we can't reach out and touch them because they're not in our jurisdiction. If the bill said that we are pursuing the overseas component with civil asset forfeiture, which is essentially what it is, then I think that's a great point to be made, and I can be probably persuaded that that's the only and right thing to do. But this involves American citizens, and we just don't take their stuff without due process. And due process for crimes comes through the criminal process that is instituted by the Department of Justice. And so with that, I reluctantly, because I think that we want to solve this problem, I'm going to have to oppose this bill, but I thought it was important that I stated why I had my opposition. And with that, Mr. Chair, I yield the balance.